My name is Joe, and I'm starting this YouTube channel just to kind of just put some food for thought out there on certain things. Um, as far as mariachi music is concerned, it's something that I've dedicated myself to over the last, I would say, more than the last part of half my life. So I wanted to share at least what I've learned so far with some of you guys who are just starting. Um, and really all they are just humble considerations of stuff that I've learned to take into consideration. So hopefully they'll help your sections to think about certain things that kind of can get lost in the mix, especially when we have so much fun playing, and we're not necessarily being conscious of some of the musical aspects that are surrounding us. Okay, especially in a genre that is more complex than I think what a lot of people really realize. Okay, and especially those outside of the genre. Um, First of all, a mariachi ensemble it's a hard ensemble to play in. The instruments themselves are are really, I mean, it's tough to make them sound really nice together, you know. Uh, and then as far as violin is concerned, these videos are going to be kind of to really focusing on the violin section to help raise the level of excellence. Okay. Um, and of course, this is from experience of me playing, but also from teaching either privately or private groups, private students, and then also in a classroom, in a public school classroom. Um, so uh, the idea is trying to make a violin section sound the best that it can um, within the realm of the mariachi. Okay, so you have armonia, and their thing is to be, they're very percussive, and so that's how they cut. That's how they cut through and get heard. The trumpets, obviously, just their tonality. I mean, the sound that naturally comes out of their instruments, it cuts. Okay, it's a brass instrument. It's gonna cut through. Where violin, because it is bowed and not struck, um, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to not kind of blend and just float away and then eventually disappear. So we have to use certain aspects of playing in a very disciplined way so that we can not make ourselves louder, but I guess a better word is going to be more present. Okay, we have to do everything we can to make our section more present. Okay. Typically we're playing in a section anywhere from maybe 3 to 6 guys. um, and then you have the harmonies within the section, first violin, second violin, third violin. um, and when you get to genres, or I guess styles within the mariachi genre, that are going to be a little bit less stuck to the page. Like for instance, we're gonna go over a son right now. It's you're gonna get into all these different schools of thought on the correct way to play a son. Oh well, you have to do this or you have to do this, and in my opinion, to limit the way you're gonna play a piece of music is kind of an insult to music itself, really. But um, you have to make sure that your section has agreed upon how you're going to do it, and then of course after that that the group agrees upon how you're going to do it. So if the section is all doing different things based on how each player feels it should go, then you're gonna have all these different images fighting against each other, and you're not gonna get a clear picture. And so, in other words, what's gonna happen? It's gonna be fuzzy. Okay, so you have to imagine your sound as something visual. All right, so your sound, if not agreed upon, is going to be fuzzy, and then it's not gonna cut through. And that's the thing you want, see, because you have your armonia playing, you have your trumpets playing, And if you don't have a clear picture as a section of what you're going to do, you guys are going to disappear, okay? And it's not going to sound clear, and it's going to sound very amateur, okay? So the things you want to consider are obviously intonation. I mean, that's the best way to cut through, okay? But also style stuff. So when you look at a Son Jalisciense, the first thing you think about is, of course, bow and stuff. And we're not going to go into the right hand, but rather we're going to concentrate on the left hand, because this is going to help you cut quite a bit, okay? And is the grace notes. What's the deal with the grace notes? Again, I'm going to show you a few things, but the bottom line is that you guys all agree on what is going to happen, okay? So the first we're just going to go over Relampago, okay? Again, a very popular way to play it is with the C sharp grace note. Okay? Nothing wrong with it, okay? As long as the other first violins are playing C sharp instead of and not playing within the key C natural. Okay? Now, C natural grace note. Again, nothing wrong with it. It sounds fine. Okay? But everyone's got to be playing a C natural grace note, okay? So again, there's nothing wrong with it, okay? And now some people will argue, oh, well, it needs to be a C sharp, okay? Because the C sharp is leading to the D, okay? If you're playing a C sharp, fine, it is leading to the D, okay? But the C natural, it's not that it's not leading to a D, but it's actually really in essence of the entire chord that you're thinking about. It's actually leading down to the B that the second violin is going to be playing. Okay, so the C sharp grace, or the C natural grace note, is actually going to be leading down to another voice in the violin section. So it's not that the C natural isn't going anywhere. Okay, so it's totally fine to play a C natural grace note, as long as everybody agrees. All right. Then you got to consider the other voices. Okay, so your third violin is forced to play an F sharp. Okay, it has to play an F sharp. It's within the key. Relampago is in the key of G, right? So, I mean, there's no other note they could play. I mean, I'm not even going to go there if they were to play an F natural. Okay, it makes no sense. You're in the key of G. Third violin has to play an F sharp grace note. Okay, so then that's going to put you into the consideration of now the voices between the parts. What do you want to hear? All right, so you have C natural to D, and then now you have your C sharp to D. Okay, and then you have F sharp to G. Okay, now this puts you in a very interesting predicament, I guess. Now you have, okay, now you have parallels. All right, when you're in any theory class, they're gonna tell you really try and avoid the parallel fifths. The parallel fifths and the parallel fourths. You really want to try and avoid them. Why? Because the sound is a little bit weak. Okay, but not only that, within the mariachi spectrum, you got to think about it this way too. If you're gonna do a C sharp grace note, okay, it might not matter so much on that first one. But if you're gonna continue, okay, or looking at the true purpose of what that is, I mean, if you try and look at your violin section as chordal in a sense too, really playing a C sharp grace note makes as much sense as the armonia section playing a D major 7 chord before they go back to a G chord, So, because you got to think about the armonia section. They're playing a D7. D7 has got a C natural in it, right? So as far as what you're voicing, again, it's gonna agree. It's gonna have to be agreed upon by the section. But there's kind of a reason why we avoid parallel fifths. But like I said, it's all a matter of taste. If you like the way that sounds, you know, I mean, it's gonna sound a little bit more angry, a little more tough, a little more, you know, I mean, it's like a power chord essentially, right? Between the first and the second, between the first and the third violin. Okay, but you know, if you like it, fine. However, if you do the C natural grace note, okay, and then you have the F sharp, you get that kind of diminished sound. Okay, sort of an F sharp diminished. Okay, but really it's kind of just a few of the notes of the D7 chord, and then leading to the G chord. Okay, so you kind of want to think chordally too. You know, don't toss the whole step grace note out of the way, because it actually sounds very good when everybody's playing it together. So you know, these are things to think about because again, the purpose is to cut through. You want to cut through. So you can't cut through if somebody's doing this, and then somebody's doing this, and then if somebody's doing this. You know, I've seen people start with slides too. So again, the thing is to agree. All right, the thing is really to agree. And the other option, or not the other option, but the other thing to consider with grace notes is the fact that everybody needs to agree when they're going to happen. Okay. Again, with the slides. Okay, I've heard that. I've heard this. I've heard that. I've heard this. Okay. But if everybody's doing something different, you're going to have all kinds of clashes. And then especially, like when I was playing with arrieros, we would do... Okay. And with cobre, we do this. Okay. So we only play the grace note in the first one. So what would happen if I were to continue playing it the way that I used to? All right. Well, not that either one is wrong or necessarily better than the other, but you're going to have a clash. You're going to have a D or an A playing against a B. You know, for all of the lead-in notes of that song. Okay? Or for that section of the song. Okay, and I don't care who you are. That's not going to be very pleasant to hear that all the time. Okay? So, you know, just consider grace notes. I know they're fast and I know they're quick, but they can make all the difference in how your section comes across and how much you guys are going to actually be able to cut through that ensemble and sound tight and big and present. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.